I'm making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, laws of the state of New Jersey. The Borough Clerk is prepared to schedule the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2023. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of the schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall. And has mailed true copies of the schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of the schedule in her office during the year 2023. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Finestrella.
Here.
Councilman Morrow.
Here.
Councilman Pence.
Here.
Councilman Puglisi.
Here.
Councilman Scarice.
Here.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Here.
Please note that ordinance 2023-15, 2023-17, and 2023-18 scheduled for introduction has been pulled from tonight's agenda. And today, right now, I have the honor of authoring the oath of office for probationary police officer Anthony Scarice.
Just go back.
I, Anthony Scarice.
I, Anthony Scarice.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support.
That I will support.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
Of the United States.
Of the United States.
And bear true faith.
And bear true faith.
And allegiance.
And allegiance.
To the same.
To the same.
And to the governments.
And to the governments.
Established.
Established.
In the United States.
In the United States.
And in this state.
And in this state.
Under the authority of the people.
Under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear.
I do further solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully.
That I will faithfully.
Impartially.
Impartially.
And justly.
And justly.
Perform the duties of.
Perform the duties of.
Kenilworth Police Department.
Kenilworth Police Department.
Probationary police officer.
Probationary police officer.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So while Anthony is signing this, I want to take a minute to say a few words. First off, as always, Mayor Karlovich, members of council, Administrator Lazari, I want to thank you for your support. As always, you guys have done a wonderful job supporting our department, bringing us back up to full complement very quickly. For those of you who don't know Anthony, he graduated last year from the Police Academy with the County Sheriff's Office. He finished at the top of his class both academically and obviously athletically. He was awarded the Ludi Award as one of the top cadets in the class and was voted by his peers as a recruit that they most wanted to have as their partner. He's not here tonight, but Sheriff Corvelli couldn't make it at previous engagements. I do want to recognize Sheriff Corvelli for allowing us to steal Anthony. He didn't put up too much of a fight, but he did say, to his credit, as a resident of town, the sheriff said it's important to him to have the best officers working for this department, and if something happens to him, somebody coming to the door, he wants to know that they're the best candidate available. I believe that's what we have. Anthony impressed me right off the bat. with his dedication to this town, with his commitment to community policing, and wanting to be involved in community outreach and the youth of this town. And that's something that's obviously very near and dear to my heart. I look forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting to work and to expect big things again. Thank you. Congratulations. Gentlemen, I should ask you to say a few words.
Congratulations.
Hard to follow that up, Chief, but I appreciate the kind words. One thing I will say is I want to thank God, my family, my friends. I'm blessed to be in the situation that I'm in. It was a very long journey for me. If you don't know my story, it took me about 6 to 7 years to get in this position I am here today. A lot of hard tribulations and trials, but I'm here, and I'm blessed to be part of this department. I grew up in Kenilworth and lived here my whole life. And to be part of your community, to deliver your talents and your assets to this township means a lot to me. I was blessed for the Sheriff's Department to give me the opportunity to become a police officer, and the Sheriff's Department really took great care of me and made this transition easy. I don't want to give the people's elbow, so that was I want to thank everybody here, and I hope that I do my job, and I hope I can do you guys proud of this town. And if you ever need anything, I do live here. Please reach out. If I can do anything, let me know. Thank you, and I look forward to serving you all.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm excited to announce that Onyx Equities now has full ownership of the Merck property. Merck has plans to be fully vacated by June of 2025. Onyx has plans to build a beautiful hotel along with retail and food, beverage establishments on the property. The property is no longer going to be this separate area from our community. It will be open. They'll take that sort of fortress wall down, and we can go there and utilize the food establishments. They also have massive renovations to the existing life science campus. They'll start that process within 6 months on part of the campus, and then 12 months later, when Merck fully vacates, there'll be massive renovations to the life science campus. And also, unfortunately, with deep sadness, we've lost a dear member of our Kenilworth Fire Department. Firefighter Robert Kukla passed very suddenly and very unexpectedly. He was a member of the Kenilworth Fire and Rescue Department since 1997, selflessly serving our borough, and he will be sorely missed. I wish to send my deepest sympathy to his family, along with his extended family at the Kenilworth Fire and Rescue Department. May he rest in peace, and we are forever grateful to him. I'd like to move on to the finance report. Councilman Puglisi.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is from a personnel perspective. As you can see, is Resolution 83. We're adopting a transitional duty policy for borough employees. It's a situation where you have an employee that's injured and not necessarily can do the job they normally expected to do. But we could put them on, let's say, open quote, close quote, light duty. By way of example, he may not be able to pick up a garbage can, but he may be able to do some filing in the office. So rather than just paying him to stay home, we'll have him in the office or performing something that he could be physically capable to do. And again, that's another plus for us. And kudos to Angela Lazari and our DPW director for pushing that forward. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Department of Public Works, Councilman Fenestrella.
Thank you, Mayor. The DPW June 2023 activity summary is as follows. They've collected and transported 115 yards of vegetation for a cost of $2,587. They collected 67.97 tons of recycling at a cost of $5,777. They collected and disposed of 255.19 tons of municipal solid waste, cost of $19,088. Spring bulk cleanup disposed of 192.83 tons of bulk waste and the tipping fee totaled $23,140. The street sweeper continues to keep sweeping the streets according to DPU regulations. Solid waste removal, vegetation waste removal, and recycling continues weekly. DPW maintains a log of all tree work requests from borough residents, and tree work is ongoing. Please also be advised that emergency takes priority. Special projects are ongoing, including getting our community parks ready for summer enjoyment. DPW friendly reminders for residents is all refuse put out to the curb should be manageable. Cardboard should be tied for manageability and to prevent it from blowing around. Cardboard should contain no styrofoam or plastic because it contaminates the load. Regarding recycling, please remind residents that the DPW facility at 401 Sheridan Ave accepts residential deliveries of e-waste, scrap metal, motor oil, single steam recycling of glass, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard. The DPW facility is open weekdays from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. The facility is also open on the first Saturday of each month from 7 a.m. to noon. Next Saturday will be open August 5th. Please be considerate of the on-duty DPW trucks. Impatient drivers create a serious safety risk for the crew who are working on the roads and hanging on the back of the sanitation trucks. For the safety of the staff, please take another road or pass by slowly and cautiously. I have some good news. The full bulk waste pickup has been scheduled for the north side October 2nd and on the south side for October 9th. Staffing news, we celebrated in June arrival of the first baby born to the family of the DPW crewman, Kevin Felipe. And I also want to lastly congratulate our new superintendent of DPW, Mr. Gregory Budishine, who started just recently. I guess he left early. Congratulations, Greg. That's all I have.
I'm sure I'll watch the video. Department of Public Safety, Councilman Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the monthly report from Chief Seuss from June of 2023. For the month of June, the Kennewick Police Department responded to 1,192 calls for service, and there were 189 911 calls. There were a total of 161 hours of overtime for the month, which was primarily for scheduled patrol overtime, which was 96 hours, and dispatch overtime, which was 48 hours. There were also 13 hours of overtime for SWAT call-outs. There were a total of 114 hours of training for the month of June, and Kennewick Police Department officers participated in the training for the use of force, firearms, defensive tactics, LEAD, which is Law Enforcement Against Drugs, SWAT, and USERT, which is the Union County Emergency Response Team. There were a total of 249 traffic summonses issued for the month, and only one sick day was used in June for the entire department. Chief Seuss left a note that he would like to recognize the fact that the entire department of 27 officers, which includes our chief, and 4 dispatchers, has only used 43 total sick days for the first 6 months of this year. That total includes 11 sick days for one officer who had a serious illness. In speaking with other chiefs from the county, that is the amount of sick time most departments use in 1 month. That is an unheard of level of sick time, and a credit to the dedication and professionalism of our officers and dispatchers that we have here in Kennewick. Great job. On June 7th, Officer Philippe and Sergeant Carver conducted a motor vehicle stop on the Garden State Parkway where they arrested the driver for possession of almost a half and an ounce of crystal methamphetamine. Kennewick Police Department officers have been regularly seizing large amounts of dangerous narcotics during the first half of the year, and Chief Seuss would like to commend his officers for their diligence in taking substantial amounts of dangerous drugs off of our streets during a time when opioid use and overdoses
are running rampant. Over the weekend, the Kenilworth Police Department responded to the report of 3 different catalytic converter thefts again. One was on North 21st Street, and the other 2 were at the Acme Supermarket in Kenilworth Inn on the south side of town. All were nighttime thefts, and there are no suspects at the current time. Residents are reminded to be vigilant. It only takes less than a minute for them to remove a catalytic converter off of a car, truck, or van. Any residents who observe suspicious activity or even hear it at night, because they're going to use a acetylene torch usually to cut it, please, they're encouraged to contact the Kenilworth Police Department as soon as something looks out of place so that they have the time to respond there and try and catch these individuals who are doing all these thefts all over. Also, Kenilworth Police Department and Chief Seuss would like to extend their sincerest condolences to the Kenilworth Fire Department for the passing of firefighter Robert Kukla last Thursday. Robert was a longtime fireman and close friend to many Kenilworth Police Department officers. He would give you the shirt off his back and do anything to help anyone, and lit up any room he was in. He will be sorely missed. I also want to extend in our thoughts and prayers also and condolences the 2 Newark firefighters, Officer Ackerbo, he was 45, and Wayne Brooks, 49. I'm sure everybody heard on the news they were killed after getting trapped on that burning ship in Newark last week. That they just finally extinguished this past yesterday. And the reason I say that is because Captain Miguel Ackerbo from the Clark Police Department, that's his brother. So please keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Also, I know the Chief had told me about the Youth Academy, and how did that go, Chief?
The Youth Academy went very well. We had graduation last week. We had over 50 kids who participated in the training for the week. I'll tell you, one of the things that we talked about, probably had half a dozen to a dozen parents ask us that enjoyed the Youth Academy so much, they asked us, what's next? Do you have any other programs? And it's something we're in discussion with now, possibly developing an Explorer program where we can kind of take some of these kids who are really standouts in our Youth Academy and maybe move into an Explorer program, almost use it as kind of like a AAA program for officers down the line. So it's something that my command staff and I are talking about. I couldn't be happier with the kids that we have in this program. Detective Sergeant Mike Scaniello, my Detective Bureau ran this thing great. I want to special commend them. SRO Picton was also in this too, so good job done by all.
Yeah, great job by the Detective Bureau Mike Sergeant Scaniello and our SRO Brian Picton for that program for the Youth Academy and going back to the Every 15 Minutes program, which were both great. Also, I just want an update for National Night Out. I know we talked about it tonight. It's on August 1st. It was originally scheduled from 6 to 8. It's being bumped back from 5 to 7 p.m. now, right here at Borough Hall in the South 23rd Street.
No.
Oh, it's going to be Harding now. That's right.
Harding.
That's right. It's going to be moved to Harding. I'm sorry. And it's going to be moved to Harding because they're going to do the fireworks right after the National Night Out. So the National Night Out will end around 7 p.m. and then they're going to have festivities from 7 to 9-ish. That the rec department's involved in prior to the lighting of the fireworks, which is usually around 9:15 once it's dark.
I think some of the festivities usually stay through the fireworks. They don't end at 9.
Yeah, and some of those, other activities. Also, I know we brought it up earlier, the Swift Reach 911. If you're not on it, make sure you register on the borough website. It's an important tool to be notified of anything that goes on in town. It's a little square that you just hit a hyperlink. You can put your cell phone in, your home phone, and it's great. If there's a flood, a fire, an earthquake, anything that happens in town, if they need to put out an emergency from bulk pickup to Borough Hall being closed for some reason, they usually put out a reverse 911. Flooding, it's important to be on that notification list so that you're in the know. And last but not least, I'd like to congratulate our newest officer, Officer Scarice, who was sworn in tonight, and his parents, and I know he's going to do a great job. And last but not least, on top of that, at the VFW tonight, they're going to have, the PBA is going to have a little celebration. So anybody who wants to stop down at the VFW after the meeting, you're more than welcome. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Planning and zoning, Councilman Morrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Keep it light. There were no new applications in the month of July as of yesterday for planning, and there's no planning board meeting tomorrow. It's been pulled down because of such. So if anybody's planning on coming to that tomorrow, don't. Maybe in August. For code enforcement, we've been triaging the sidewalk list that was presented to us by a resident in town. A lot of discussion on that in the working session. I just want to thank the council, the mayor, as well as the public for chiming in on some solutions for that. We'll report back. We had a little bit of flooding happening all over town from the torrential downpours. Other than that, code enforcement was also light this month, so not a lot of activity going on with the enforcement of the planning. Zoning is seeing a very healthy flow of requests for fences, air conditioning units, as well as new sheds going up. So that's all good to see. We have a good steady stream of work coming in from that department here in Borough Hall, the construction and zoning department, and we see this with the increased fees and the permits that we're collecting. Big month for road openings in the month of June. We'll just keep bringing the revenue in from utilities for that. So thank you, everyone. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Scarice.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll start off with library happenings. They would like to extend an invitation to the Mayor and Council and everyone public to come and participate in the programs. We'll start with children's programming. Let's see, move up the date here. Tomorrow, Thursday, July 13th, Science Tellers program, ages 4 to adults, 7 p.m. Monday, July 17th, 24th, and 31st, bingo, ages 3 and up, 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, July 18th and 25th, Lapsit, ages newborns to 2 years old, 10:30 a.m. Wednesday, July 19th, yoga story time, 2 to 5 ages at 10:30 a.m. Thursday, July 20th, Irish music dance program, ages 4 to adults, 7 p.m. Friday, July 21st and 28th, summer craft will be held for ages 4 to 9, 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, July 26th, Good Time String Band will perform for all ages, 10:30 a.m. Adult programming, Tuesday, July 18th, Paper Pals, between 2 to 4 p.m. Thursday, July 13th and the 20th, Yarnies from 2 to 4 p.m. Tuesday, July 25th, Spin the Yarn program, 5 to 7:45 p.m. Thursday, July 27th, Adult Pottery, 5 to 7 p.m. Spaces are limited on that one. Thursday, July 27th, Yarnies at night, 6 to 7:30. All programming information can also be found on their website, Facebook page. Any questions families may have, please feel free to give the library a call at 908-276-2451. Also, the library at the last meeting I went to, we're still having issues with their phone line system, which is affecting their emergency call elevator and fire alarm. Hopefully it is resolved, but we didn't have a meeting yet over the summer. The Board of Health and the seniors kind of coincide a little bit. We, at the Board of Health meeting, I brought up the situation to Marconi, who's our shared services person, basically the head of our point guy for the Board of Health. Him and also Chris Demko were working very hard to try to resolve our county issues with the food program. As a recap, in order to comply with federal grant money, we had to become American with Disabilities Act compliant. Therefore, we had to remove our triple sink. We thought we were compensated with putting in a dishwasher to compensate for that lack of a sink. The county and state didn't like that. So Marconi got involved and has been working with, he's been contacting the State Department of Health. They determined the dishwasher has to be replaced. They want a commercial unit. A temperature booster will not suffice for what's currently there, which is a residential unit. So they have a temporary solution of using disposable trays until the work is complete, until we either change that, put a new sink in, or get another dishwasher. Chris Demko will be, the Department of Health state finds that acceptable to use the disposable tray. Chris will be sending a follow-up email to the county, advising them the temporary solution that they have come up with, and So we're waiting for a start date. As of this time, we don't have one, but that should be coming up. In the meantime, that brings up our director, Darlene, which has been soliciting funds and food for our seniors, so everyone's been eating, and eating quite well.
I'm sorry.
So she still has donations, so seniors will be fed one way or another until the county program resumes. And let's see, just make sure we covered everything. Also, the AC units, I noticed, are mounted, they're basically mounted on their side in the ceiling. And hopefully, so basically the water's condensation leaking out of their side panels. Hopefully the vendor can come up with something. It's a low point. You can see where the drainage tube is. And there's like a tray, which would be the side panel. So they might have to install some kit there. Hopefully they'll work on that. They replaced the ceiling tiles that were damaged. And I think that's about it for that. And that's about all I have to report on for seniors and Board of Health activities. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there a motion to accept and approve committee reports?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, we have one ordinance for final adoption tonight. That is ordinance 2023-14. Bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, and a new fire truck, partial funding, and new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Borough of Kenilworth, in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,901,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate capital surplus and various grants, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Is there a motion to open the public on ordinance 2023-14?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2023-14?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-14 has been adopted.
Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2023-180 through 2023-187. These resolutions will be approved by one motion. All items will be recorded individually in full in the minutes. Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
We have four ordinances, sorry, yeah, we pulled it through. So we have two ordinances for introduction. Ordinance 2023-16, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 170, Streets and Sidewalks, Article 9, placement of dumpsters on public rights-of-way, sidewalks, or streets, Section 35, application for permit fees, term, regulations of the municipal code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-16 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-16, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at the meeting to be held on August 16, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-19, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 39, Police Department, Section 2, Designation of Appropriate Authority, Section 9, Appointment and Promotion of Officers, and adding Section 10, Promotion of Officers, to the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-19 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Mora.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-19, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on August 16, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say for the good and well-being of Kenilworth? Please come forward and state your name and address. Oop. Two? Oh. Okay.
Tony Sosnowski, 36 South 17th Street.
Hi, Tony.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I have 3 items this evening. I know there was some discussion regarding taxes during our work session, but first, at our June 21st council meeting, Councilman Puglisi, you said, and I paraphrase, for the budget, you had tripled the number of meetings. It was a lot of hard work. There were situations you had to overcome. And by the way, who is on your subcommittee, sir?
Myself, Councilman Morrow, and Councilman Finestrella.
Thank you.
I said tripled, but it was more. It was more than triple. Okay. So I was being, I guess, a little modest.
Okay, thank you. You tried to save money where you could. You did what you said. You did what we could. Then you stated there will be an increase to each household. And Councilman Puglisi, after the lot of hard work by you and your subcommittee, you didn't tell us what the percent increase was that you and your team came up with for the taxpayers. So would you mind sharing that percentage with us?
Well, the percent depends upon depends on the household, but on the average household, right? I mean, the total increase is $728. Now, only half of that is from the municipal perspective. So, of the $728 on the average household, only half of that increase, not only, it's a lot of money, half of it is coming from the municipal budget, whereas the other half is coming from the remainder from the county, the school, and what have you.
Okay, I just went back to the meeting because I didn't hear a percentage, and before I came up here, I wanted to make sure that I was correct. So thank you for that. Now for my second item for you, Councilman Puglisi. Mr. Priscirno spoke regarding a new officer. He asked valid questions and was at all times respectful. And then you brought us right back to the memories of the January 18th meeting. I'm sure you remember that meeting. So now Mr. Priscirno presented scenarios that you did not like, in my opinion, and additional dialogue followed. at one point while Mr. Paserno was speaking, you said, and I quote, "I'm 1,000% right, and that doesn't pass the sniff test," end quote. Councilman Puglisi, your attitude has not changed. I am reminded of 2008 when I was on council and on your subcommittee. And on the advice of my counselor, I am not at liberty to share any additional information about that. So now going back, speaking to January 18th meeting, you mentioned the handbook will be reviewed, and also Councilman Zimmerman, you stated you would like to look at the nepotism clause. So Councilman, that was January, this is July. Have you two gentlemen looked at the handbook?
Well, I can just tell you this, so...
No, just that's either yes or no.
Have I looked at it? Absolutely, I've looked at it. The first hurdle the Finance Committee had to overcome, as you just mentioned, was the budget. So that's the operating budget, and we got through the capital budget. So now we have a schedule for July 25th, the aspect of the Finance Committee that deals with personnel. So at that meeting, we'll be reviewing the handbook and any ordinances that pertain to employee conduct and what have you. So the answer to your question is it's yes. I've looked at it, obviously. I've read it in anticipation of the meeting. But also we have a meeting scheduled in a couple of weeks to go over the personnel policy.
Okay. Thank you. And my third item is to all members of council. You may want to get a copy of the children's book, The Emperor's New Clothes, and see how that relates to what is happening here. And I hope it helps to open your eyes to that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor Karlovich and Councilman.
Good evening, John.
And our
Clerk? Angela.
My question is, you mentioned 2025, the Merck property, they're building a hotel down there?
Well, they would like to. It's in their plan to put a hotel on the front part of that property along with retail and food establishments.
Has that gone to the planning board?
No, it's just in the very beginning stages. There's nothing set in stone. They could change their mind, but this is what their vision is right now, and they shared that with us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Zimmerman, I just want to add, Mr. Savino-Scarice was at the meeting as well and actually followed up with the folks at Onyx. And we're trying to get a walkthrough of the site so we can bring our construction department there, understand what's going on. I think Mr. Paserno is also on the email looking to come with us. We want to be very accommodating for Onyx. We want them here. We want them thriving here. The plans that the mayor went over sound excellent. Who wouldn't want that in town? So I just wanted to let you know we're going to try to hold their hand through this. And the accommodations that they might need, let's talk about them. Make something happen for Kenilworth. So thank you for your
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi. Tony Giordano Paserno.
Hi, Tony.
41 Petru Avenue. I don't understand the last ordinance 2023-19. So who wrote this? What committee was on it, so I know who to ask my questions?
Police.
Yeah, so John and I put it together. I came up with the initial draft.
Isn't it usually 3 people on a committee?
Yes, you didn't ask that. You asked what?
No, I asked who was on the committee.
You asked who put it together. So,
And who else?
okay. Are you asking who put it together, or are you asking who?
I asked who was on the committee that wrote this ordinance.
Yes, there is no answer to your question. So what happened was,
I think there is.
no, it didn't happen that way.
Okay.
The committee didn't write the ordinance. So, okay, so I spoke with John first, and then we sent it back to the borough attorney to draft, make the changes, and then from there went back to John and Scott, so individually. So we never really.
So Scott is also on the committee.
100%.
But you drafted it gave it to John to review, then gave it to the attorney, who then it went to Scott. So the three of you were on the committee, am I correct?
Correct. I didn't really draft it, but it started off John and I talking, and then from there
Well, you just
to
said
the
you
attorney.
drafted it.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go back to 2013 when you said to the mayor earlier she wasn't around, when it was changed to give the authority and the power to the mayor, who was Mayor Fiamingo at the time, and I was on council with you. So it was done for that purpose, to give the mayor the authority to appoint the police chief at that time. I was in the room with you.
No, I don't think it was to give.
No, it absolutely
No,
was. It
you're
was.
wrong.
But it was, Fred.
No,
They weren't here, you and I were. It doesn't matter. So
No,
I'm
I'm
going to go
telling,
back to
listen,
this.
I don't mind, listen, you were right to, 80% of what you said is right. Okay, but
Yeah.
20% is, it wasn't who gets to hire the police chief. Okay. It was who the
To make
appropriate,
the appointment.
no, it wasn't, the police chief was always the mayor. What was changed was who, one of the things was,
Correct.
probably the most important thing that was changed, was who the appropriate authority was
But
going to
that
be.
was when it was done. That year for that.
when, who the
For that purpose. But the
No,
next
no.
question
Right,
is.
well,
in-
if you don't hear the
in this
answer, don't ask the
document-
question.
No, I'm clarifying your false statement that nobody was there. I happen to have been there, and I'm probably the only one in the room that was with you. On this document,
Correct.
it says that additions are shown in bold and underlined, and deletions with a strike through. But the first page, it stops right here. And all the next 1, 2, 3, 4.5 pages are all new guidelines because it's all bold and underlined, but it doesn't show what was there because there's no other strike-throughs. So it's not showing everybody what the ordinance consists of now, so you can look, side by side and see what it was.
I don't think we've ever done it that way.
Well, it says it's written in the ordinance.
I understand,
Right
but-
here. Deletions are shown in strike-throughs. So are you saying that this entire pre-existing ordinance stopped at section 3?
No.
Right, so
That's not-
where's the rest of it that would have all the strike-throughs and then the corresponding bold and underline would be with it, right? The way you did it here for appointment, like you crossed out and promotion and wrote new officer. But everything after that, we, the public, has no way of seeing what it looks like currently so that we could weigh in on, hey, yeah, this is a good thing, or maybe not, or whatever. So I think that whole thing should be offered for review by the public if it's going to be part of the new ordinance. Because right now...
Yeah, we've never done it that way.
It says it here, Fred.
I know what it says.
Right here.
That was the
You're an attorney, you wrote it.
No, I didn't write it. I'm telling you.
No, but I mean, you're an attorney, you know legalese.
Sure, absolutely.
And it says very clearly, no, additions are shown in bold and underlined, and deletions are shown as strike-throughs. But you didn't add all the strike-throughs.
If I may, if
So we don't
there is a strike through that is not reflected in the ordinance here, we will present it before its final adoption.
Yeah, but it doesn't give everybody time to review it from now to August. When is the next reading? August what?
August
16th.
So, yeah, we're going to wind up getting it on August 16th, where if we had it today, we could review it. So...
Now, why was it done that way, Gunther?
And if it's only...
I can't say I drafted it. I believe that
Right.
the Labor Council drafted it. So I have
I
to
think
find
that
out.
we have it should be, according to, the ordinance should be the way it's supposed to be, the
And then
way
you
the
could
note is.
review both.
If there is
Should
a
be done
cross
that
out
way.
that wasn't reflected in here, we'll have to get that reflected in here.
This has to be fixed.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that the entire ordinance was...
No, yeah, it's just a formatting error.
So maybe that could be posted on the website before the August 16th meeting, so we could review the entire...
Well, the ordinance is already on the website, so what we have to do is compare with the ordinance as it exists.
Yeah, but it should be...
Compare it to that. Well, that's how every ordinance is, right? So
Yeah, but
every
now when
ordinance
you're
we...
modifying it, it should be in this paperwork that Angela was kind enough to give me. So the whole thing should be in here for viewing, because maybe it's a great document, but I don't know.
I don't know if
I
it's missing
can't read
anything,
everything
so I don't want to
else.
say that until I know. And I can tell you,
Well, then it would have had to stop at section 3.
Right. Right now, it appears
No,
that the
then stop at
entire
section 3.
ordinance was 3/4 of a page, and you added 4.5 pages. That doesn't make sense. It probably is longer than 3/4 of a page. So where are all the pre-existing ones, the existing ones?
Are you asking about the other sections that you don't see here?
The existing ordinance now, I would
Yes.
like to see that in its
Yeah,
entirety.
that is not in here, that's not how it's
So how
always
it's-
done, so
so
you're
it says
asking,
here-
and if you look at the other ones,
See,
that's
that's
the
right.
same thing, they only reflecting the changes. Like the
But then
fee
why would
ordinance
it say
is,
that, Angela? It says that deletions are shown as strike-throughs.
yeah, so they only would show parts that are changed, so a change
Right,
with a
but it's not doing
deletion.
that, is what we're saying.
You know, I don't know, but I know, I don't know the
Yeah.
answer. I know what you're asking about the delete. So there's two different things, right? So you're only gonna see, and Gunther's right, it was drafted by the labor attorney, and Kim just put it in this format for us. So I'll look and see. If it's missing something that was deleted and you don't see it with a strike through, that's something that should be here. I don't disagree. But the point I want to make is, it doesn't stop at section 3. This is only going to show you the changes to the part of the right, the code. So chapter 39 has a whole lot more than what you see here. You're only going to see the portions that are either deleted or added, right? And that's why, so if that's the question, it's a different one, and that I want to address.
No,
So
my question is, I would like to be able to view the entire ordinance as it stands now and view it against the new ordinance that's being proposed. Because how could you make an educated decision? Why would this even be shared with the public? I can't make an educated decision on if it's good or bad and get up and speak
they
on
only
it.
show you the amended pieces, right? So if you want to see the pieces that are staying the same, that's part of the borough code, but it's not different for here. So I do want to say that. Like, if you look at the other ordinances, this is the way we do them, so it's not something that's out of the ordinary. So I do want to just be clear on that. If it's missing strike-throughs for something that was deleted, that's absolutely would be addressed. I'll take a look. I don't know that that's the case, so I certainly don't want to speak to that, and I'll raise it with the attorney, and it'll absolutely be updated. But if you look at the others, it's in line, and that they only show you the portions. We're not gonna re-provide, 10 pages of that whole piece, just the parts they're changing.
Okay, I get that.
So-
But this is a 4.5 page addition.
Well, I will tell you also one thing, so section, and I will tell you, I know one thing that happened. So section 39.9 had changes, and 39.10 was a new section. So that whole thing is new, because and I don't know, have the detail in front of me of what changed, but they ended up using 39.10. It's a new section. And that's why that whole thing is different.
Okay, so 39.9 did
No, I
have
know what you said.
changes. So where's the...
Promotion.
Oh, right, that's why.
Where's the existing
That's
one
why.
of 39.9?
Oh, sorry. You're right, sorry. So what happened is 39.9 got separated into 39.9 and 39.10. So 39.9 had appointments and promotions in one section. Sorry, thanks, Scott. And 39, and they took the promotion piece out. They said only appointments is 39.9. 39.10 now is dealing with promotions.
Angela, if I could,
Yeah.
39.9, when you go onto the code, has different wording that I think Ms. Giordano here saying should be struck through, and then we show new wording.
Yeah, we definitely should if that's the case. I'll look at that for sure. Absolutely.
That's what she's
And that's
asking,
what
not
I'm
the
saying. I
bifurcation.
find it hard to believe that all of this is brand new. It had to to have been addressed in some form prior to. There had to be a format of hiring, promoting, and all of that. And part of it...
3910 is not all new, it's just in a new section. I will tell you that.
So
What I can do, just to avoid the back and forth here, is that when I will take a look at this to see if there were red lines that were added and crossouts that were inadvertently not included. And to the extent that there are, we will correct them and accurately reflect what the Labor Council drafted.
Okay, so when would we be able to see that?
We'll correct them tomorrow.
August 16th?
We'll correct them tomorrow, give them back to the clerk, and then the clerk will then use that as the adopted version that will be as for, for introduction.
Okay.
And then you'll have that final for second reading and final adoption.
Okay, so my next question is, there's different terminology used. There's Police Safety Committee, then the Public Safety Committee, and then Police Commissioner. What's the difference between a Police Safety Committee and the Public Safety Committee?
No, one are the same.
So why are they called different things?
There's no particular reason. What happens when you change ordinances over time. This ordinance has gone through so many ideations.
No, public is public and police is police.
In this case, they're one and the same.
Well, then it should be one or the other. It's not a public safety committee. You don't have the public weigh in. Is it a committee?
Should say police.
On the three-person council committee? Is that the police committee? And who's the commissioner? We don't have a police commissioner.
Yeah, it's in an ordinance. So the ordinance says that the chair of the Public Safety Committee is the police commissioner.
Since when?
It's always been like that.
That's not our form of government, though. We don't have commissioners. We're council.
It's in the ordinance. It's in the, if you look up in the ordinance.
It's not our form of government. You can't just make our government.
We never had a police
You're
commissioner.
talking oranges, I'm talking apples.
But that's what I'm trying to see. That's the point I'm trying to understand. There's like a police safety committee or a public safety committee. So are you referring to the three-person council that is assigned to the police department, like we have DPW and fire and whatever?
Correct.
So it would be the police committee, the council members, not a public safety committee.
Well, to the extent that there's a scrivener's error, we'll look into that as well.
It wasn't an error, it was just, they're one and the same, so, as what you don't see is that there's an ordinance, there's a section of the ordinance that says the chair of the Public Safety Committee is the police commissioner. So,
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it always was, it never was. I remember you wanted that title back in 2000.
No, I had the title.
No, you didn't.
100%.
No, you didn't. But anyway, so I think that needs to be cleaned up before you ask the residents to weigh in on it. And the last thing, if all the power, you have decided all the power, you and John, sorry John, he lumped you into it, decided that all the power should be removed from the mayor, why would you have her sign the bottom, or whoever the mayor is at the time, that she's approving an ordinance that she can't participate in?
Sure, so that's the way our government works. So the mayor has the ability, or has the right to sign the ordinance or not sign the ordinance. So if he decides not to sign it, then from there, the governing body can basically the same thing as with the president and Congress.
You could change that?
We could 100%, we could override that. But that's just not something we did, that's just...
Well, I just find it ironic that you would remove all the power from the position of the mayor and then ask the mayor to sign off on it.
We don't have that, we have no discretion in that regard, so...
Yeah, I know.
In a
Don't
form
you find that a little ironic?
No.
It's just the way all ordinances are done, so you have no other choice but to put it there. If the mayor does not want to sign it, like the councilman said, we would...
It really is a different point. I appreciate you weighing in, but this is not the point. The point is, you intentionally, with your council members' support, again remove more power from the position and the authority of the mayor, whoever it is, and then ask her to sign it. Like, this is becoming a dictatorship, and whatever works for you, and because you're an attorney, it's very easy for you to rewrite this. And it's sad that you went along with it.
Well, number one, it is called,
Very sad.
the committee is called, the Department of Public Safety is the name of the committee from the reorg.
Someday, if you're ever mayor, I can only imagine what's going to happen. All of these things are going to turn back then. Because if you ever became mayor, you would never allow that. You're going to then have it orchestrated to take it back.
Well,
it's a sad thing that's happening to the town of Kenilworth, and I hope that the residents are watching all of this go on. That's all I can say.
Well, I can say this, you know, when I was the police commissioner, and I was,
There's no such thing as...
there, okay, I'll take, before the end of the meeting, I'll pull up the ordinance for you. But that power, I was the appropriate authority for a period of time, and Kathy and I discussed it, and she thought it should be the mayor, so ultimately...
It wasn't you and Kathy, it was me, you, Kathy, and Scott Pence.
And it was changed, and I didn't have a problem with it. And it was changed from my position to the mayor's position.
I'm telling you the truth, for whatever it cost me, that's not the truth.
Does anyone else have anything to say from the public?
I just want to weigh in. I know she cut me off, but there is a Department of Public Safety in the reorg meeting, and that's the way the committee decided.
Right, but it should say that all over the ordinance.
I agree. It should say that, you know.
The ordinance was done very, very poorly by the labor
attorney. It is the
attorney.
Department of Public Safety because they.
Who we're paying a ton of money to. He did a terrible job.
So, but that, I'm just weighing in on that. And also the Department of Public Safety, or the police committee, whatever you want to call it, it is interchangeable. And we do interview people that are candidates for the police department with the chief of police. And in conjunction, we come up with who we think is the best candidate. The mayor is not part of that process, otherwise we'd have a quorum, which we don't have at that point because we have the 3 committee members that make a suggestion or decide who we think is the best candidate based on our input together. And that's what happened, you know, with the most recent Officer Screese that was sworn in tonight. And we don't always agree with the mayor on who we think is the best person, but we are that committee. And there is that separation of power. We do have a weak form of mayor government here, and that's just the type of government we have in Kenilworth. It's a fact. So in rebuttal to what you're telling me, I'm just telling you my side of the story as to what form of government we have and why we have a public safety or police committee. And if we're going to interview people and spend time with the chief, you know, speaking to different people and for what if we don't have any say in who's being appointed?
And just for the record, you are wrong. On section 39-3, it does state that there's a police commissioner. So, and that's the chair. No, I'm looking at the borough website right now. That's the ordinance as it exists.
Well,
So,
I would just weigh in that the police committee and Councilman Zimmerman did not have a problem with the way the ordinance was written when it benefited him to become the chief of police and being jumped rank by the mayor, Kathy Fiamingo.
I mean, just to make it clear, so this ordinance has been
The
changed.
ordinance was fine. Everyone was fine with the ordinance when it suited you
Right.
and when it benefited Councilman Zimmerman. But now that it doesn't, because I'm here, you have to change everything. That's the truth.
Well,
just be honest about it, Fred.
But you changed the ordinance as well, correct?
I didn't change
John,
any ordinance to
was
take
the
power away
ordinance-
from anyone, ever.
When you were the police chief, was the ordinance changed, do you recall?
It was by the attorney Frank Capisa at the time, who met me at the Kenilworth Diner to explain why it was changed.
Can you explain the changes that were made at that time?
I don't know them off the top of my head, but some of it was the input as the chief of police versus the council deciding who were going to be hired and promoted.
So was power taken away from you during that change of ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. You see,
according to Frank Capisa at the diner, and yes, it was.
All right. So, I mean, this is an ongoing change. This ordinance has gone through many ideations and changes. So it's changed probably 4 times since I was here the first time around in 2013. So again, this is just one of those changes that happens to improve the ordinance, in my opinion. So, you know, we may disagree, but, you know, we always had the good intentions of the borough in mind, and that's one of the reasons we did it.
So I'm trying so hard. I'm really trying hard. I know you're a paid professional and you have to remain neutral, and I'm sorry you have to sit through borough nonsense. But I don't understand how you could sit here and tell me that all the changes that you have made during this particular mayor's tenure has been for the benefit of the borough, when all you did was strip her of all authority. And I'm not saying that for whatever political party she is, but it is so unheard of and unprecedented. I just can't understand how you continue to do it and how you get 5 other intelligent men to go along with you. Because what is the purpose of that chair at this point? Just to give you the power to really circumvent and run the borough.
Well, just to be clear, I mean, the statute, right, the laws that are more higher, more important than ordinances, they dictate the powers of the mayor. And basically, I'll let council correct me if I'm wrong, it says these are the power of the mayor. Basically, everything else goes to the council.
Correct.
So we can't.
You have majority.
Excuse me, can I finish?
And the day of the reorg meeting, you stood there, and the 4 councilmen, because you had the majority at that point, immediately changed all of the ordinances and pretty much stripped all of the authority of the mayor on the reorg meeting, and it has been downhill ever since.
Well, I would say it's for the...
Leave the chair empty.
All she has, you know what, just returning all the power to where it belongs per statute.
So, listen, you know what, there's been Democrat mayors, there's been Republican mayors, the council has always worked together with the mayor till now. Always worked together. This, no matter who, there's always been bipartisanship at this dais until you came on board.
Well, you know what, to be fair, you're right. We always had a working relationship with the mayor, Republican or Democrat in the past. And that all ended when Joe, Scott, and I got elected. Because we weren't even given a thank you, congratulations, or what have you. Our introduction, look at the meetings, when we first got elected, our introduction to this council was to be berated week after week, meeting after meeting.
So this is retaliation then, I guess?
It's not retaliation, it is what it is.
It's retaliation.
All right, so...
And I didn't know to that, that's not true.
But don't come preaching to me that you're bipartisan, because it's on YouTube, you can see it. From the moment we were, actually before we got sworn in, it started. So for you to pretend that you're bipartisan by any stretch of the imagination, you never gave us a welcome, you never introduced us, you never tried to work with us, all you did was berate us for the first year.
Never. I'd like to see a video where I berated you. I would like to see that. I would like to see one video where I berated you, because I never berate anyone.
Well,
I don't.
Okay,
it's
so
not my personality.
It's if you look on the YouTube channels.
Okay, well, I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I will, because I want to see it myself.
I spoke to Pete. I spoke to Pete Corvelli, the sheriff, and we had a discussion about this. And quite frankly, it was never when Kathy was the mayor, when Scott was the mayor, when I was the mayor, when Mark David was the mayor. We always had a working relationship.
Mark David wasn't the mayor. You mean Greg?
And Greg David, yeah. When he was the mayor, we always had a working relationship. And those are the mayors I worked with and were a part of. But unfortunately, we don't have that here, and it's unfortunate. It started bad from before us getting sworn in. And unfortunately, we're just not in a position where we can work together at this point.
Excuse me, if you're going to speak, you have to get up.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to say for the good and healthy?
My apologies.
All right. Hi, Charlene.
And members of the council. I'm Shirley Maxwell, 38 South 24th Street. On behalf of the Kenilworth Historical Society, I would like to thank you all for approving the Historical Society's proposal to hold a community-wide garage sale on Saturday, September 30th and Sunday, October 1st from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and for all that you do to support the Kenilworth Historical Society. The timing of the community garage sale is always selected so that residents will have an opportunity to sell any unwanted items before the first bulk pickup in the fall. So we always look forward to having the community-wide garage sale as a service to the community, to its residents, and we hope that everyone will be successful with their garage sales. Publicity will go out shortly. It'll be posted on Facebook, on the borough website, and also in the various local newspapers. And registration forms will be available soon also at the borough clerk's office. And Angela and Kathy and Mary are so helpful in the registration process. Thank you so much for all that you do. They'll also be available at the library and at the local florist. So we look forward to informing everyone of further details. But right now, as I said, the dates are Saturday, September 30th and Sunday, October 1st from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, is there a motion to close the floor for public discussion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's nothing else to be brought before the council, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
There has to be on the
I'm
record.
sorry, Doctor.
A statement on the record. There has to be a statement on the record in the public meeting that you are removing ordinance 23-15, 23-17, and 23-18.
I did say that.
I remember in the working session.
No, I did.
She did.
I did.
Okay, my apologies.
But you can say it again if you'd like.
I just did.
Okay, we're good.
Just one last thing, Mayor. If I may, Chief Seuss notified me that the PBA is not doing anything tonight afterwards, only because it's the summertime and officers with vacation, everything going on right now, had a prior commitment, so.
Thank you. Okay. If there's nothing else we can work before the council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.